Hey guys, come on downstairs. Last episode we went through the state of Wyoming and visited the venue for the Wyoming Cowboys, both basketball and football. Today we are going to start our trip from Laramie and we're going to move down into the state of Colorado. And this is going to be a little bit different than the last episode. It's going to have obviously a lot more sports teams, so this is going to be more of a taste of what this series is going to be like than what the first one was. The first one, Wyoming, kind of an aberration with just the one team. There's going to be some other ones, that don't have a whole bunch of sports teams that I can think of, but Wyoming is definitely, outside of Alaska, I don't think there's any state that doesn't have any, at least FCS football programs. So we are getting set here in Laramie. Our landing was a little bit rough in Laramie. You saw it burst the tires or something. I don't know what happened with the tires, but they were smoking pretty good when we landed. So we have borrowed a plane from the University of Wyoming with the old brown and yellow stripes on it, and we're going to take that one down the eastern side of the Rocky Mountains and check out Colorado. So we get this thing out onto the active runway. And here we go. Let's go check out Colorado. All right. So Laramie and Fort Collins. Laramie's pretty much right on the Colorado border, so it's not going to be a long trip into Colorado. In fact, Wyoming versus Colorado State is known as the Border War. So the first venue that we'll look at is Colorado State's Canvas Stadium in Fort Collins. And then from there we've got several more stadiums to locate and find throughout the Denver area and south of Denver as well. Alright, we're airborne, and let's get this thing up to a cruise altitude and head down. Right now, I think we took off heading... What is our heading here? I can't see it. My eyes are too bad. I want to say we're heading north. Maybe it was east, actually. It was east. I remember now. We landed heading west, so I think we took off heading east. Anyway, we are over the mountains. We have not crossed into Colorado just yet, but we're very close here. And we're going to skip ahead. Now we're into Colorado as we head towards Fort Collins. So in the first episode in Wyoming, I didn't really use a flight plan. I just kind of got up and flew just from memory for the most part. As we get to Fort Collins, see, like I told you, it was not a long flight. We did skip some of it, but Fort Collins, Colorado, home of the Colorado State Rams of the Mountain West Conference. And we're going to locate their football venue here. So if you remember in the first episode, Wyoming's football stadium had this weird building inside of it. Somehow the Microsoft Flight Simulator auto-genned a building because something on the field looked like the roof of a building, whether it was a big tarp or a concert roof or something like that. I don't know. But Colorado State's stadium is the same. There's a weird building in it, and it's the only one in Colorado out of all of the venues that we visited that had this building. So don't worry, they're not all like this. This one also, for whatever reason, I think maybe, like they're using, I think Microsoft Flight Simulator uses Bing Maps to do their auto-gen from, and I think the Bing Maps might have been taken when Canvas Stadium here was under construction, so there's some weirdnesses to this stadium. For one thing, the stands may not have had bleachers in them yet, or chairs in them, when the picture was taken, so it also looked like a roof, and so it's built like a big cement roof, so it looks like it's like an indoor stadium with a roof covering. And to my knowledge, I don't think that it is. But there you can see the building on it as you look down. We'll make another pass here over Canvas Stadium. I think we get down a little bit lower and take another look. Here we go. Now we're heading straight for it. You can see it just about right at the very top middle of the screen. So we're heading towards it, going south, Canvas Stadium. And we'll be a little bit closer. You'll see there's a weird building in it, but you also can tell that it is Colorado State's football field. And this is the last of the messed up buildings, at least in the state of Colorado, that we're going to see. As you can see, it auto-gemmed some crazy building from like the 40 or 30 yard line going in. But there's Colorado State, Canvas Stadium. And we're going to head out of Fort Collins now, and we're going to turn and head east a little bit. And we're going to check out an FCS program and their football field. And like I said, I didn't use a flight plan in this one. When I did New Mexico's, I did use a flight plan, so it was very clean and crisp. This one I struggled a little bit to find Greeley, Colorado. So I finally had to get some help and locate Greeley, Colorado. And there it is. It's a little bit south and east of Fort Collins. So it's quite a ways away from the mountain range. I mean, Denver itself is a little ways away. It's not like Salt Lake City that's tucked right under the mountains. But Greeley's even further out, and it's very flat. I was surprised by how much water there was. And I shouldn't have been, because, you know, the watershed from the Rocky Mountains, all the runoff and stuff's got to go somewhere. But I didn't realize there was so many little lakes and stuff in this area off the east side of the Rockies. But there's quite a few, quite a good amount of water, as you can see, some ponds and lakes up. I believe that is east of Greeley, as the campus of Northern Colorado is just above the propeller of our airplane. We're going to start turning. It's on a tiny little hill. The Northern Colorado Bears in Greeley, Colorado, they are part of the Big Sky Conference. And their football stadium is not big. It's a pretty small little football stadium here. Now we're going to fly over. You see some of these ponds and stuff. So campus is still off to the right of, or above our right wing, I should say. We look for their football stadium. Okay, you can start to see some buildings up by the compass, part of the campus of Northern Colorado. And now the stadium's starting to come into focus there at the top left corner of the screen. I'll mark it here. It is Nottingham Field, home of the Northern Colorado Bears. And not a big stadium, pretty small. Even by Big Sky standards, I think that's got to be a pretty small stadium. I mean, I think there's high school stadiums in Utah that are even bigger, let alone like Texas. So there's Northern Colorado and Greeley, Colorado, and now we're going to head back over towards the mountains and see if we can locate Boulder and the University of Colorado. So again, you can see a lot of water over here on the east side of the Rockies. And like I said, I shouldn't have been surprised. The runoff's got to go somewhere. So Greeley is the furthest east we're going to get here in the state of Colorado. There's a whole bunch more of the state out towards the east that's very flat and a lot like Kansas and whatnot. We're not going to get over there. There's not any major universities over there, and certainly no pro sports teams. So University of Colorado is going to be our next one up, and then we're going to start to get into some pro sports venues. And Boulder, it's right behind those clouds that we're facing. You're going to be able to see as we come through them here. Oh, off to the left of them now. Boulder, Colorado, tucked right up against the mountainside. Home of the Colorado Buffaloes of the Pac-12. Looks like an absolutely beautiful city. I've never been there. I've actually, come to think of it, I've actually only been one place in the entire state of Colorado, and that was in like Durango. We just cut across the southwestern corner into New Mexico. Alright, so we're right up against the mountains now on the campus of the University of Colorado. There's Boulder off to the left, and the university campus is tucked up here in the trees. Lots of trees in Boulder. A lot more than there were in Greeley. And the stadium is just ahead of us here. Folsom Field, home of the Colorado Buffaloes. Beautiful setting for college football. I mean, look at that. The trees, the campus, the stadium, the building, and the, what is that, the north end zone? Folsom Field right there. We got a good look at that one. Looks like a really nice campus in the University of Colorado. All right, we're going to move a little further south, start heading towards Denver now. And we've got one more stop before we get to the city of Denver. And it is going to be to check out the venue of Colorado's MLS club. So I want this episode to be a continuous trip, like we're taking a tour of the entire country, right? So wherever we end off in one episode, that's where we're going to pick up the next episode and just travel from there. If it's a long distance, we'll take a jet. For example, after this episode, we went from Colorado Springs, and the next episode will be in New Mexico. So we took a Citation, Cessna Citation private jet to go down there. Okay. Commerce City, Colorado, the home of the Colorado Rapids, just north of the city of Denver. And I actually had a really difficult time locating this stadium. I've learned that I need to locate them beforehand and not just get up and fly and try to find them. But I did eventually find it. Luckily, you guys don't have to watch all the footage of me flying around looking for it. So you can see the city of Denver up in the top left side of your screen, but the Colorado Rapids Stadium we are heading directly for, and it is Dick's Sporting Goods Park. So it looks like we got some soccer fields, practice fields or something all around it. Big soccer complex. And there is Dick's Sporting Goods Park, Colorado Rapids. Okay, you can see Denver. Let's head there. Off to Denver we go. The Mile High City. We're at 5,900 feet. Almost to 6,000 feet. And Denver, the home of 4 professional sports teams. And let's take a look at all of them here. The Colorado Rockies of Major League Baseball, the Denver Nuggets of the NBA, Colorado Avalanche of the NHL, and the Denver Broncos of the NFL. The Nuggets and the Avalanche share a venue So we will see 3 different venues here in the city of Denver. Again, beautiful city. But it's not as, close to the mountains as like Salt Lake City is. So it's not quite as picturesque, to me anyway. But still an awesome city. I'd love to go there someday. Alright, so now we actually flew over the top of the city, and now we're heading into it from the south. So we're heading north here, kind of northeast. And there is Empower Field at Mile High, dead ahead. Home of the Denver Broncos. 3-time Super Bowl champions. And here we go over Empower Field at Mile High. Nice Broncos logo up in the stands. Beautiful, huge stadium. And just after that, we hit Ball Arena, the home of the Colorado Avalanche, as well as the Denver Nuggets. Formerly known as the Pepsi Center, I believe. And there is Ball Arena right there. Home of the reigning NBA MVP, Nikola Jokic. And now, just after that, we have Coors Field. So all 3 of these right in a line. All on the west side of Denver. And we go over Coors Field, the home of the Colorado Rockies. Remember, the Rockies started out their existence playing at Mile High Stadium before moving into Coors Field. All right, that's it for Denver. And now we've got a little bit of a trip south to hit Colorado Springs. And that's our last stop here in the state of Colorado. We should be there in about 5 minutes or so. Maybe a little bit less than that. So we'll enjoy the mountains while we have them here. We won't always have the mountains to look at, especially when we get to the Great Plains. There's going to be a lot of flat states out there that we'll hit. But we'll go city to city, looking at the venues, and it'll still be a good trip. It'll be fun. Pretty little valley here. Tucked on the east side of the Rockies. A few little towns we'll go over. You see some houses down below us. As we keep moving forward, heading south. And again, I didn't have a flight plan. I was just basically following the mountain range. I knew just head south along the mountains and you're going to hit Colorado Springs at some point. And here we are. Colorado Springs, Colorado. That was a lot less than 5 minutes. All right, home of the Air Force Academy Falcons. And Colorado Springs, the city, is actually south of Air Force Academy, so I did actually fly over the stadium without knowing it and hit Colorado Springs, and then had to backtrack a little bit to find the stadium. So here we go. Heading back towards the northwest at this point, looking for Falcon Stadium. And the home of the Air Force Academy. Here we go. Falcon Stadium off to the right. We get a good look at the field here at Falcon Stadium. Home of the Air Force Academy Falcons. Colorado Springs. Nice looking field right there. Good look at it. Got the logo at midfield, the conference logos, everything. Alright, so now we're going to head back into Colorado Springs and put this airplane down and call it a day for the state of Colorado. We've hit every venue. I don't think I missed any. If I did, mention them. I'm pretty sure I got every major college team or pro sports team in the state of Colorado. Try to get, I don't know that I'll get every FCS football team, but I'm going to try to get as many as I can. But I'm pretty sure I'll probably miss a couple of them here and there, especially in states that have a huge amount of sports teams. Like Texas or something. I don't know that I'll hit every FCS team in Texas. There's quite a few of them. We'll be plenty busy with other things in Texas. All right. There's the runway. The City of Colorado Springs Airport. I think it's a municipal airport. City of Colorado Springs Municipal Airport. Laramie was Laramie Regional Airport, I think. But we're going to put this down here, and then in the next episode, we'll take off from here with a Cessna Citation private jet and head south to New Mexico. And by the time that episode's done, we will have gone from Yellowstone National Park and West Yellowstone, Montana, all the way down to the U.S.-Mexico border in 3 episodes. Pretty close to putting this thing down here. See if we can have a better landing and not do damage to University of Wyoming's airplane like we did our own. I'm going to use so many different airplanes in this series, though, that, you know, it's not like we're going to try to keep one airplane in one look. We're going to mix it up, play with a whole bunch of them. I need landing practice in all of them anyway. As you can see, I'm off to the left of the runway. Plenty of runway to work with here with this little plane. The trip from here to New Mexico is going to be a little bit tougher. I have not actually even flown a jet. Yeah, I have not flown one, let alone landed one successfully, since getting this game for the Xbox Series S. All right, we're down. Guys, we did it. The state of Colorado, we hit them all. There's going to be other states that are more spread out, but I'm not going to subject you to like super long. Like I'll do all the legwork. I'll do the long flight. I'll just give you the abbreviated version to get from place to place. I think, like for example, I think it takes me about an hour and a half to get from here to New Mexico, but for you guys in the video, it only takes like 8 minutes or something. So I won't subject you to the hours of travel that I put in. I'll do the legwork, but it's a tour of the United States using sports venues as our guide. Here on Mama's Basement Sports Gaming, it's our state and sports venue tours via Microsoft Flight Simulator.